Okay, wow, this one, this one's not a good look for Nintendo if I'm being honest. There's some good news in here, but a majority of what we're talking about today, I would say is not good and looks really bad on Nintendo. But you guys already know what I'm going to ask for if we start to this news video. I am asking to see if we can hit 19,000 subscribers by the time I get back from New York City. I've been uploading every single day. Our New York City vlogs are starting this Friday. Get ready. I'm traveling tomorrow. It is going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait to do this video. We're not close to 19, but we can pull it off, guys. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. We're still doing our daily uploads for now, so get ready. Without further ado, let's jump right into the news. All right, this is one that has gotten to be kind of controversial. A lot of people throw tomatoes at me on Twitter when I talked about my thoughts on this, but some retailer in Hong Kong managed to get the Nintendo Switch 2 early and showed off the box that it's in. And the design of the box looks very identical to the Nintendo Switch 1 box. And people pointed this out online. Something that I pointed out online, that when you're going into a store like Walmart, you're not gonna notice this, at least when it comes to grandparents and some parents out there. I talked about how the Nintendo Switch 2 box is way too similar to the Nintendo Switch 1 box, that this will cause some issues. Now, I'm not saying this is another Wii U situation. I'm not saying the system is going to fail because of this, but I am saying this is going to cause confusions because look at the two boxes. There's only one thing that you can point out that makes it different, and that's the Switch 2 logo. Some of that's not gonna be noticed, guys. Obviously, us watching this video, us talking about this, we will notice this, but to the older crowd, the crowd that doesn't know what they're buying, especially the crowd that works at these stores and don't care about what they're selling to the customer, that's not really gonna know what they're selling, yeah, this is going to be an issue. People are going to end up with the Nintendo Switch 1 when they ask for the Nintendo Switch 2 for Christmas. And all I was pointing out is that the boxes are way too similar. I think Nintendo could have done a better approach, maybe a different color box, because it's literally the same color system on there, same size pretty much. I mean, the image shows them off side by side and you can see the similarities there. And everyone online is pointing out, oh, but there's a giant 2 on there. Guys, I mean, this is just a terrible comparison. I saw people also, like Player Essence, trying to say that we should be going after Apple. Look at the iPhone boxes. And I replied to that saying that that is a horrible comparison, as when you're buying a phone or going online buying a phone, the boxes aren't shown online. When you're going to buy a Switch 2, the box is shown. When you look at the Switch 2 online, the box is right there. Boxes are something that you don't see when it comes to phones when you're purchasing it. It's not till the phone's set up that you get handed the box and already purchased. So, terrible comparison, but it's I don't know. The replies to my tweet was very interesting last night. I would love to hear what you guys think. I'm not saying that this is going to be like, oh, a total disaster. All I'm saying is this is definitely going to cause some confusion for parents and grandparents. All I'm saying. Okay, this is pretty cool because I remember when Target did this for the Nintendo Switch 1 when Mario Kart was coming out. It looks like that a majority of Walmarts are going to be designed to have Mario themed, I don't know what you would call these things as you enter the door, but there's going to be Mario signs in front of Walmart as you're walking into wherever entrance. Target did this before. Target did a better job than what Walmart's doing, unless Walmart's doing more that we don't know about. But Target had like the red ball become Mario, and then a lot of the carts were Mario Karts, and then they had music playing of Mario Kart as you're walking into Target. I hope Walmart's doing something like that, but I'm going to guess not. Either way, it's cool to see this type of promotion happening. I feel like you don't see this type of promotion happening in stores anymore. It was something that you saw maybe like 15 years ago, but as of now, it's not something very popular, and I'm glad to see that we're seeing this come back. I just wish it was as cool as the Target promotion, if I'm being honest. All right, we got a big one here. This is a leak coming from Nash Weedle. We talked about this guy in the last news video where he was talking about so many things in development at Nintendo, that there's a giant unreleased, unannounced game for the Switch 2 happening later this year. He's saying there's an Ocarina of Time remake. He's saying that Astral Chain 2 is happening pretty soon. Bayonetta 1 through 3 is getting remade for Switch 2, and that Bayonetta 4 is in the works. He's saying all sorts of things. He's even saying that 3D Mario is happening next year. But we have another Switch 2 thing coming from him. This time, he's actually putting some concrete details of what's going on with this, but he's talked about a big third-party game, a game that I think a lot of us was not expecting to come to the Switch 2, and that game is The Lies of P. Now, this is obviously something that I think that came out, what, like a year or two ago? It was pretty popular, and then all of a sudden, I feel like the hype of that game kind of died pretty fast, but supposedly, I know that Digital Foundry reported, I think earlier this year, that the company behind this game tried to get a Switch 2 launch kit, and they weren't able to get one. But this leaker out here is saying that that is not true, that the Lies of P Switch port is more than likely coming out this year, and that the announcement for it is more than likely happening in June, which we already know that a rumored Nintendo Direct is happening in June. So I feel like if this ends up happening in June, this guy that's been coming out of nowhere might have some credibility behind him. As we've talked about, that it seems like he might have some credibility and sometimes might not have some credibility. This time he's putting a lot of information out there, so I think if this ends up being true, we'll be able to find more about how true this guy is. He did, however, mention that there's a chance that the announcement might not happen in June because they actually want to release the release date for it in the announcement video, because he's saying that all that depends on the development of the port. So it sounds like they're still working on it, but there's a chance it might not come out at the targeted date that they're looking at. So that's why nothing's concrete. But obviously, if this is something that's true, we're gonna find out in a few weeks. I mean, we're pretty close to June, and that Nintendo Direct that's being rumored is probably within the 2nd or 3rd week of June. So I guess we'll find out pretty soon. I thought this was interesting. The Limited Run Games CEO made an updated statement regarding Nintendo Switch 2 and the game key cards. And obviously we reported their statement before on how they do not plan on doing game key cards for their numbered games. So let's see what they had to say here. He further states that there is no plans to do game key cards on the stuff that they manufacture and publish. Also mentioned that he thinks future releases could end up being a dual cartridge that works on Switch 1 and Switch 2, which is interesting because I believe that that's what Marvelous is doing on some of their Switch cartridges when it comes to Switch 2. So if Limited Run could pull that off, that could be a pretty big deal. And honestly, I'm wondering if we could see more third-party developers do this, because does that help lower the cost and cartridge price if you're using Switch 1 stuff into that cartridge? I don't know. I think that's very interesting, but he said that they can't confirm that that's happening yet. But let's see the full quote of what he said regarding the situation. "I don't think it's purely cost. Releasing a game at retail requires an insanely long amount of lead time. This means games to be completed and approved with platform holders 3 to 4 months ahead of their planned retail launch date. This is a colossal amount of time that publishers often don't have, and it's what genuinely results in retail releases having early builds that require massive day one patches to function. Games these days often come in hot, so the luxury of a 3 to 4 month lead time for retail is virtually non-existent. Game key cards give publishers a way to prepare a retail product with the proper lead times required for retail, while still allowing the opportunity for the games to come in hot." Very interesting statement. He knows what he's talking about here as he's developed this type of stuff. And really curious to see what this means for the future of Limited Run games. That Switch 1, Switch 2 dual cartridge sounds very interesting to me. And honestly, it has me wonder, can more third-party developers do that, and will that save them money, or is that equally the same amount of money? Because what if you could go back? Well, I don't know. Is that even possible? It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this. I'm sure we're going to see Limited Run Games announce their first Switch 2 game next month, probably at their big quote-unquote E3 presentation. They always do a big annual presentation in June, and they always make it be like E3. I think they call it LR3 though, I think, if I remember correctly. I think we're going to see some Switch 2 games there, and we'll probably get a lot of our questions answered at that presentation. All right, this is one that honestly is horrible. This is a disaster. So it has been found in Japan. If you look at the Street Fighter 6 physical copy over there, obviously it's a game key card. But what's very interesting about the Street Fighter 6 Switch 2 release is that it's the years 1 through 2 edition. So it has the DLC, but it's not a code. It's on the cartridge via the game key card. So you're like downloading the DLC still when you put that cartridge in. But it has been confirmed, say that, I don't know, you decide you want to sell your Street Fighter 6, give it to a friend, something like that. It only downloads the game. So that second Switch or whatever doesn't get the DLC. And yeah, that DLC only gets downloaded once to whatever Switch you put it in. And that is absolutely horrible, especially considering the fact that when you're buying this game, part of the reason why it's a $60 game in the first place is because of the DLC. If you don't believe me, GameStop has actually shown that the digital copy of Street Fighter 6 is going to be $40. They're selling it without the DLC. So this is horrible. This is unacceptable. I am not a fan of what Capcom is doing here. I'm assuming this is more Capcom. Whoever's decision it was, unacceptable. This needs to be something that gets addressed and needs to be fixed right away because this is horrible. Okay, so I'm rereading this and looking at the screenshots, it looks like there is a code. But again, that makes matters worse. I mean, I guess that is better than what I thought it was going to be. But then what's the point of a game key card if that's even more stupid? What? Okay, so it is going to be a cartridge and then there'll be a code for the DLC. But what? That is stupid. Why is it not on the cartridge? That's something that you're paying for. That's something that you're advertising, like a, not necessarily complete edition, but the DLC edition of Street Fighter 6. There's no reason why Capcom should not have that on the game key card. It's literally a game key card. It's the pro-consumer way to go, the saving money way. So why is it not included into that? There's no reason why it should not be. I don't know if I'm more frustrated now about this. I don't. This is a disaster. There is no reason why that's not on the cartridge. And the only reason why they're doing that is because they're afraid people are going to go and sell the cartridge. And that is so stupid. Oh my gosh. I'm actually frustrated. I'm more mad. I was mad at first, but now I'm mad. Like, I'm really mad at that. That's what? What? That doesn't make sense. I feel like that defeats the purpose of a game key card once again. The whole idea of the game key card was to save money. That way you don't have to put everything on cartridge because cartridges are so expensive. So why are we manufacturing this paper with the code when you could have easily put it through the game key card? This is corruption. This is actually corruption. Oh my gosh. This is bad. This is not a good look for future releases. Because look at it this way. This is DLC that has already been released. I guess I could understand why there would be a code if it was for a future unreleased DLC, because how would you even put that on a cartridge? But this is for stuff that's already out and you're paying for the DLC already. Oh my gosh. I need to walk away. Guys, that is everything I have for you. So I know I probably sound stupid at first. Now we're in a more level playing field where everything makes sense, but that still doesn't make sense to me. That's stupid. That is corruption. But wow. Okay. Well, I have been talking for way too much. This is actually going to be our last news video, as this is actually the last video I'm filming here. All the other stuff that you're seeing before the New York vlogs is pre-recorded stuff. So if you guys like the Switch 2 news videos, we might continue sometimes bringing it back. with the Switch 2 content that we have planned, because we're more going to be focused on the reviews, top 10, stuff like that when I come back home with the Switch 2. But maybe like once a week, I'll do a video of recapping all the giant news, and we'll still do our predictions, stuff like that. I don't know. Y'all can let me know what you want to see when it comes to these type of things. But this is the last one because I'm traveling. So enjoy the other videos we got coming out. We got some special ones. One that y'all are really, really going to love. Guys, I have been talking for way too much. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on what we talked about today. I think it's going to be interesting to see what people think. Because, man, that last story, I'm more frustrated. I was frustrated, but now I wish now it was what I thought it was originally, because that would have been, I think, better now. But this is way worse. Like, this is horrible. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, check out the Instagram, Discord, all that good stuff in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. The next time I'm recording a video on this camera is going to be me in New York City. That's crazy. But Coleman, we did it. Props. We did news videos for like 2 months straight almost. We did it, brother. Yeah, woo.